All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project. I'm your host, Sean Calhoun, and if you're here, it's because you're ready to reduce stress, burn stubborn fat, and get your body working with you instead of against you. On this podcast, we're all about simple, no BS strategies for fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle. This way, you can feel strong, confident, and in control. I'll give you the tools, mindset shifts, and habits to help you look and feel your best without spending hours in the gym or stressing over every single meal. Now, let's get into it. All right, guys, we are back, and it's your host, Sean Calhoun, and I am excited to talk about today's topic because it is one of the most talked about things in this space, in the health space, specifically with the women that I talk to who are in peri and postmenopausal, and that is energy, right? I talk to people about this every single day where they're complaining that their afternoons, they're exhausted after work, they're waking up, they are not feeling energized, or just at random times throughout the day, or if not, all day long, they are walking around in a state of low energy. And guess what that brings? A lot of uncomfortable situations, right? If you're at work and you have a lot to do and you are low energy, you're not going to be enthralled to go do that stuff. And you're not going to be able to do it to the best of your ability. Let's say you have goals to get into the gym and you want to do that regularly. Well, if your energy is slumped, the motivation is not going to be there. And even if you get to the gym, you're going to feel like blah. And you're not going to give it your all into a workout and allow you to progress forward. At nighttime, when you just want to unwind and chill for a little bit, you're going to feel like you need to go right to bed, right? There's a lot of occurrences during your day and throughout your life that impact the way you feel when your energy is bad, right? So if your energy is off, it's going to throw off your entire life, your relationships, your ability in your career and your job and the passions that you have are all going to be impacted, right? And the worst part is a lot of these women are relying on things like coffee, sugar, or just sheer willpower to get through the day. And sometimes that willpower is not enough. And then we beat ourselves up and think, oh, you're not disciplined enough, or why couldn't you do this? And it's not your fault, right? There are a lot of things that we are in control of, and there are a lot of things that we aren't. I'm here for us to take back control and not be a victim. But at the same time, when your energy is all out of sorts, you can't always beat yourself up and say you're not disciplined enough or don't have enough willpower, right? I remember a time when I first started training, I was working two jobs. One was, doing personal training clients. So you kind of have to squeeze in these clients around normal working hours. So I was waking up at 3:30 every morning, training clients in the morning, working my job, and then after that, training clients at night, going to sleep, and then doing that on repeat. Now, I thought that, I'm just tired, I can work through it, like this is normal. It wasn't normal. It wasn't a normal schedule. I wasn't eating normal. I wasn't taking care of myself at all. I was just spreading myself way too thin, overworking, and it impacted a ton of things in my life. I mean, I had no free time to do anything. There was no lust for life, right? Like you don't have that pizzazz that you need to enjoy life. You kind of are just going through it. And I know sometimes we go through periods of life where you kind of have to work hard. That's one thing. But this was not a way to live life. But I had to flip things around. I had to make some changes. Now, I'm not saying that that's your lifestyle. Maybe you're not working that many hours, or you have a lot of free time, but you're still feeling fatigued. My promise is that we're going to talk about things in this episode so that by the end, you're going to have a practical, science-based way to reset your energy and start feeling like yourself again. So there are a few invisible threats to your energy that I want to bring up, right? And these are some things that you might not realize are draining your energy and contributing to it. One thing is blood sugar swings, right? So when you eat food, your body absorbs the nutrients and absorbs the glucose. And if there is a lot of, carbs and glucose and sugars in the foods that you're eating, your blood sugar spikes and then it comes back down, right? There's like a chart that you could look at. It goes up and down. Now, the problem with this is we don't want high spikes because they lead to high drops, right? And that causes stress on your body. That causes your body to crave things like more sugar and more caffeine for boosts for energy. What we want is a more stable approach to our blood sugar throughout the day, right? So if we are eating things like bagels and cereal and things that are just straight up carbs like oatmeal and fruit smoothies. Not that they are necessarily bad ingredients, but what they do is they spike your blood sugar and then it comes crashing back down. So then you're looking for a quick fix. You need another cup of coffee, you need a candy bar, you need another sweet treat, something to just get you that edge to balance your blood sugar back out. But what ends up happening is we're on this roller coaster of peaks of blood sugar spikes and drops all throughout the day. That leads you to feeling like crap. You're going to have a crash in the afternoon, and you're just going to be searching for that next thing to grab onto rather than having sustained energy and sustained mood throughout the day, right? So the simple fix to this, right? This can be more complex, but we're trying to bring things to simplicity right now, is you need to balance out your meals, right? And make sure that they're not full of sugar or just full of carbs. That is not saying that carbs are the enemy. You need carbs to survive, and they're beneficial in many ways, but we want to make sure that you're blending your meals with all of the essential macronutrients. So you need to get your protein for satiety, right? To make sure that you're fueling your muscles and that your body is eating this food and absorbing the nutrients over time and you feel full for longer. Then there's your healthy fats. They're important for hormonal balance and a lot of operating systems within the body. And then there's fiber, which helps with nutrient absorption, breakdown of food, and digestion. So you want to make sure that you're getting all of three of these in every single one of your meals. Most importantly, your first meal. Now, I'm not saying what time you need to have your breakfast. Everyone is different, but your first meal of the day should have a protein, a healthy fat, and some fiber in it, not just a bagel or cereal or oatmeal without any protein in it. So think about this. Whenever you have a carb, dress it, right? What I mean by dress it is put proteins and fats with it. If you have a rice cake, put some peanut butter or avocado on it, right? Have that. If you have oatmeal, put some nuts in there, put some protein powder in it, right? Like dress the carbs up so it's not just carbs alone. That will help your blood sugar swings. Next is chronic stress and cortisol, right? So stress isn't just mental, it's physical. So when you are waking up in the morning and you are doing a high intensity workout on an empty stomach, that is stress on your body. When you are working late hours of the night and you never turn off the computer or you're just answering emails nonstop, that's stress on the body, right? So that chronic stress leads to a dysregulation in your cortisol. Your cortisol gets released in response to stress, but our stress isn't just running away from an animal in the wild. It comes in all shapes and sizes, right? You could be scrolling on your phone, getting stimulated from social media, and that's stress. So the problem is we're not ever regulating this. So when we are dealing with these bouts of little itty bits of stress, you were watching someone on your phone, on social media, you got an email from someone and that stimulated a thought, you had a meal that was highly processed and that caused stress on your body, and that is leading to these elevated and dysregulated levels of cortisol. Hey, hope you're loving the episode so far. Thanks for spending some time with me. I got a quick favor to ask. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast because that's how I know you're getting value from the show. And this way, you never miss an episode. All right, now back to the show. And when that happens, when cortisol is dysregulated or elevated or depleted, right, it's not balanced, that leads to belly fat, it leads to fatigue, and it leads to poor recovery because cortisol is what we call catabolic, which means it breaks the body down. So if that's elevated, your body's in a state of breaking itself down, and we need to heal, right? And the third thing is poor sleep. So if you're getting less than 7 hours of disrupted sleep, right? If you're not getting 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep, there's a lot of things that are happening, right? It disrupts your regulation of leptin, ghrelin, and cortisol. Leptin and ghrelin are your hunger and satiety hormones, which means when you eat food, your body tells itself that it's had enough, and it tells itself that it's got enough food for a long time, for a few hours. That's what we want. When you aren't sleeping enough or your sleep is disrupted, then your body isn't able to regulate those hormones, causing issues with food, right? It means you're going to have cravings. It means you're not going to feel satisfied. So those are the things that are really, really impacting your energy that might not be so surface level, right? We can tell If I didn't get enough sleep, I don't feel that well. But why is that? Right? It's because there's so many things happening while you sleep to regulate your nervous system, to clean the junk out of your brain, to regulate your hormones that are essential for you having a high energy life. So I want to reset our energy framework, right? The way we think of things, or the way I think of things, is in the form of a DRESS protocol. So this is something that I do with clients, and it's an acronym, and it helps with the foundational things that you can do to improve your energy. So DRESS stands for diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, and supplementation. Now, for the diet portion of it, this is huge. If you're having those balanced meals where you're getting the protein, the healthy fat, and the fiber, and a little bit of carbs, that's going to help you sustain your energy throughout the day. Now, I could probably do a whole podcast just on your diet or each of these, but I'm going to keep it simple just so you get the framework of what DRESS is and how you can impact it into your life, how you can incorporate it, I should say. So balanced meals, protein first. What protein do you want during that meal, and how can you build the meal around it? So for dinner, let's say you really wanted steak. What do you like with steak? Maybe it's a sweet potato, maybe it's some Brussels sprouts, right? But you started with knowing you wanted steak, and then you dressed it around it. Another way to think of this is like your outfit. Like maybe you really wanted to wear a certain shirt, and you figured out what shoes and pants went with that, but you did the shirt first. Same thing goes with food. Always think about your protein first, and how do you want to dress the meal around it. Next in the DRESS protocol is rest, right? Prioritizing your sleep and recovery, making sure that your room is dark, making sure that you're going to bed between 9 and 11, right? Not going to bed after midnight. Your room is dark, it's cold. A big thing for your rest is in the morning when you first wake up, going outside and getting some sunlight for 10 to 15 minutes. Prioritizing your recovery in the sense that if you just had a hard workout, maybe the next day you did some stretching, some yoga, and went for a walk, right? Listening to your body and what it needs to feel its best. Then there is exercise, right? Exercise is important. We must move the body. We must put stress under the body in the form of exercise because that's a good stress, right? So strength training and walking may take priority for a little while over than intensive cardio. And I mean, when I say intensive cardio, I mean running for miles and miles and miles, or doing HIIT before you had anything in your stomach, right? And just beating your body up when you needed that rest. Listening to your body, giving it the strength training and resilience that it needs to have lean muscle. Because what that does, again, is it allows our body to absorb the carbs and the nutrients that we're eating so that it doesn't take as big of a hit into your blood sugar swing. So if you're eating those carbs and they're getting fueled into your muscles rather than being a huge blood sugar spike, well, that's an important thing. Now, something like walks after meals, that goes into exercise and stress reduction. I think walks kind of go into a bunch of the different categories, but this is something that I tell people a lot, where if you can incorporate a 5 to 10 minute walk after your meals, you're absorbing the glucose even more, so you're leveling out those blood sugar spikes even more just by doing that short little walk. So exercise is super important. Then there's stress reduction, right? Finding ways to calm down. If you have a very intense job, or you're on your feet, or you're dealing with clients, and it's just like your nervous system is going, right? You can almost feel like the tension built up in your face. Maybe you take an hour before you go to bed and you take a hot bath, or you read a book, or you have a nice calming conversation with a friend. Or you just sit there and you stretch on the floor, right? You build in these things that work for you. I'm not telling you need to do all of these, but there can be something that you do to just reduce stress. Maybe it's go for a walk. Maybe it's have a hot cup of tea on your porch and just listen to the birds, right? There's important things that come with this that you can build into your routine. And then supplements is always going to be targeted based on results on lab work. I'm not going to tell someone to go take random supplements because I don't know what their body needs. Now, typically supplements come in the form of something you're deficient in. Maybe you need to balance something out. Maybe the food you're eating is deficient in nutrients and you need to support it through supplements. So that usually comes through understanding someone's personal situation and figuring out what supplements are going to best balance their body out and allow them to heal and allow them to have the energy that they need. Now, key takeaway and some action steps, right? I wanted to keep it short today and just let you know that if one of the problems you're dealing with is energy, there's a lot that you can do. But hopefully, from the message that I gave today, was that there are foundational things that are important. They're free. You can do them today, and you can start to feel how your body reacts to them and figure out what works for you. Through my process of self-development and learning how to grow myself, my mind, my body, my health, is that there's a lot of people giving advice out there, and you can't expect to do exactly what they do or do all of it. You might find a habit from someone that works really great. You might hear this other person's routine, and you're like, that's crazy. Don't try to do it all. So what I'm saying is, from this, maybe jot down a few things, or maybe one thing that resonated with you that you know you can implement tomorrow, right? It's not about taking it all, writing it down, and being perfect tomorrow. You're going to implement everything that Sean said about energy and improving it and doing the stress protocol. No. Maybe it's, like I said, maybe you get your room to be darker at nighttime. Maybe you start eating a first meal in the day and it's got some protein in it rather than just carbs. Now that's a big one. That's one that I would suggest. But my action step and my ask for you is to take one thing. Choose one. Maybe it is adding protein at breakfast, or taking a 10-minute walk after meals, or 7 or more hours of sleep at night. And do that today, right? Like, don't wait till tomorrow. Try to implement something today, see how you feel, and then you grow from there, because those small wins compound into lasting energy. And if you can build confidence and the energy at the same time, that's going to lead to more things down the road. So if you find tomorrow you have some protein with your breakfast and you feel good, you're more likely to do it again and again. And maybe you do that for a few weeks and a few months, and then you compound and add another habit into your routine, and you feel confident when you do that instead of overwhelmed. So that's my message for you guys today. If this resonated with you, please share it with a friend. If you have any questions, reach out to me on social media. I'd love to hear from you guys if you're implementing these things. But if not, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Go crush it, and I will see you next week. Hey, thanks for spending some time with me on today's episode. I hope you got a ton of value from it. If we're not connected on Instagram yet, let's change that. Hit me up at Sean Calhoun _. That's SEAN Calhoun _. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what you think of the show, or if you got any questions about how to level up your health. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode.